Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask John Hood and Chris Fitzsimon. Former 9th District Congressman Robert Pittenger wrote an unusual op-ed column for the Charlotte and Raleigh papers in stinging farewell message. He lashed out at fellow Congressman Mark Meadows and the Freedom Caucus, claiming that group was responsible for killing the health care legislation in the Congress and immigration reform, further saying these defeats resulted in Republicans losing the House majority last November. What's your response to Pittenger's piece?
Well, I don't think it was a work of art or anything that will be put in a museum, but I think his underlying point wasn't incorrect. I do think Mark Meadows is fond of being on television. I also think that the extreme positions that the Freedom Caucus took just contributed to the Democrats taking over the House, especially around the health care issue on pre-existing conditions and all those things. On the other hand, all those things being said, he clearly has an axe to grind. He was very upset that he lost the primary to Mark Harris. You know, Pittenger for a long time represented the very conservative wing of the Republican Party. The Republican Party has moved beyond him into Mark Harris territory, which is a different wing.
He looks like a moderate now.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but he definitely looks far less on the sort of the one side of the Republican Party. And I think that's part of what you're seeing come out in a lot of places, not just in North Carolina.
But he says if there's a new 9th District primary, he's not going to run. So far as it goes, this whole business concerning Pittenger and Mark Harris, and so, fairly unusual for Republicans to attack other Republicans, but one of the statements he made, John, was that the Freedom Caucus is no friend to Donald Trump.
At this point, a lot of Republicans, whether they're planning to run for office again or not, try to couch whatever they say as they're not really good for Donald Trump, or President Trump may think they're his friends, but they're really not. This is a very common kind of rhetorical flourish. What I would say about his statement, among other things, is I do not think that the Freedom Caucus's picking of the various fights that it has picked under Mark Meadows had a significant effect on the congressional outcomes in 2018. I think it was driven by other factors. So on that point, I'm not sure Robert Pittenger has a point. But when he argues that the Freedom Caucus used to essentially shut down the government over trillion-dollar budget deficits, and more recently they've shut it down over much smaller matters, I think that is actually true. That is a perceptive point that one could debate some of the tactics of the Freedom Caucus, but back some years ago, they were trying to address the most important problem facing the country, which is our reckless fiscal irresponsibility, and there's not a peep coming out of that from anybody at this point.
Yeah, Congressman Pittenger said that he wasn't going to run in the primary and that he was through with politics, and I think after that op-ed piece, we can probably agree it's correct.
Although politicians have said that before and then filed for office 4 years later.
Witness Richard Nixon. Well, thank you for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.